teaching you how to produce? Like what equipment were you using back then on the first record?
We didn't have no equipment. Not the stuff that we did was done with the engineer, Charlie Murata. We didn't have whatever he had up there, we used. Don't forget, we was making loops with quarter-inch tape and taping it around the room and looping it back to half-inch. Like we was.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
The Beastie Boy style. Okay, so Ad Rock talked about that they weren't using drum machines yet. They were just. Can you explain that process? Like, because I still don't understand the idea of going around the room and putting pencils up to
because
do it perfectly.
Because it wasn't no programs for sampling like that we knew about. You know, don't forget Hank Stockton was probably advanced the whole nine, and whatever you heard that from Beastie Boys, this is what Charlie had. We didn't have nothing to keep doing this, and we only had 8 tracks on the Tascam, so we had to make do with what we had. But the looping part, there was no machine that we had that would loop. So all we had was to record to tape and then splice it and then make the loop and then record it back to tape and then record from that.
So wait, you're saying that some of the first album was done on an 8-track Tascam?
All of it. All the first 2 albums done on Tascam. And Redman.
So the master tapes are cassettes?
No, meaning that the Tascam board.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay.
So all you heard, the album, Das Effects, first album, all that was done on the 8-track.
Not what the album. All them samples you crammed on the R alone?
On the 8-track.
Dude, there's like 42 trillion samples on the R.
No, but after it went from the 8-track, we went to Power Play to DOC, and Doc made some other changes, but the majority of the album, when it was done on 8-track.
Yikes. So
and don't forget the rated R stuff. When you hear but you can't it ain't that much stuff. I only use the James Brown sample, the Kiss of My Love drums, and that's it. But like I don't know what you hearing. Well,
you just make all like you kind of have a bomb squattish.
I do
texture. Like even one of your favorite productions when you did Run DMC's Can I Get It, Yo?
Oh, hold up. Yo, Quest, what is wrong with you? Nobody would ever mention that record.
Are you crazy?
Nobody knows about that record but you.
To this day, because the thing is, you have like 3 bass lines.
I do.
Compete with each other.
I know. I did. The Blow Your Mind. He said with so much junk. He said even the outstanding Shaquille O'Neal record. You got Yearning. You got this record. You have the Humpty. You have the. So I used to have like 4 or 5 samples competing with each other.
Yeah. So my theory is that Public Enemy crams a bunch of mid-range and high-end samples that sounds chaotic, but you would just mix like 4 bass lines, even the heist, even what you did with the heist, like with the 808s and like I just never saw a person just mash up a bunch of bass lines together. It is shit is crazy.
You know what? It was the samples. Like imagine again, you hear something, right? And
right.
I'm not knowing Quest to take out the bass of the sample on mixing. And neither, I guess, is the engineer neither. So even when Pharrell's like, Erick, whatever that W-30 does for you, it makes no sense because there's no other sound like it. Because also too, the machine I used was on some. It did some other things though, Quest, that you would.
What did you use?
It was a Roland W-30. Only had 15 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget. So I was doing the same stuff they were doing at SP1200. The same thing. I was doing the speeding up fast, speeding down slow.
So would you lay it 1 track at a time?
Not really. No, I was doing it, but some stuff was sped up to where I can sample it because I only had 15 seconds.
Got it.
Don't forget, all those beats you heard was made in a 15-second radius. Same
I
with
see
SP
now.
1200, but mine was done with loops. But that's why when you hear Jazzo speak about, or Jay-Z speak about, I don't know how Erick had that "Is My Thing" going, because Jazzo tried to loop it and it just didn't loop right, you know. But
Right,
again,
right,
not knowing that we spliced it, had it looping around the room to tape, so the splice gave the nice cut. It wasn't
right.
on sampling machine.
Or did you always stick with the Roland no matter what? That was your weapon of choice.
Yeah, the Roland stayed with me until just like music was done on 15 seconds.
Wait, what?
But right, because all I would do is I would get what I need, whatever, I put it back, and then when I get more vocals, I put them back separately. So I lay the track down separate. But the reason why
Use that Roland for music,
right? So when you hear some of the hissing that you hear in the Marvin Gaye vocals, you probably can't tell, but it's not clean. So it's because it's going through that machine.
there is. Okay. I was going to say, I try to recreate. I got the Midnight Love,
right?
Box set joint, whatever.
Right. The acapellas there, right?
And I was trying to figure out. I was like, yo, how does this version sound like it's a old cassette?
Yes,
the bunch of mids, and so of course, if you sample it at a higher rate at 45 or whatever, then your bit tone is going to sound grittier,
right? And that's what happened. So
I would try to recreate it. Like the way that I work on production is, if I hear something that I like, and Dilla taught me this shit, he does the same thing. Like, oh, okay, I like that. Let me see if I can recreate it and see if I could do it. And my version always sounded too clean and pristine, and I was like, yo, how does this sound like?
And listen, I tried to keep it real over, even though I did it on my new equipment. And the Ribbon in the Sky, the way that it comes out in Jamal's record, does not come out the same way in any other sampling machine like the W-30. It made it different because when you hear it, it's different, it's clean, it don't loop the same. I don't know why. So when you saying that, it's the truth. When you try to recreate something, you be like, yo, why it don't sound right?
So to this day, do you still try to collect Roland 30s, or you've moved on?
Collect the what?
I said, to this day, when you do production, do you still try to collect Roland 30s, or have you moved on to other?
Well, I got W-30s because of nostalgia. So in case, I tell you what, one day I was in the lab and I said, Rock, come here real quick. So I went inside my floppy disk and I pulled out some stuff from Muddy Waters. And he was like, nah. I pulled out, I pulled out Pick It Up for him. So he boom, 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 boom. So he is like, no. So he goes ape shit. So I go to Blackout and I pull out the boom, 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 boom. I got the mad. He's like, nah. So I pulled out the U disc, because the U on Blackout was a W-30 disc that had programmed drums on it. So I pulled out the disc that came with the Roland to make that U beat. So he was just bugged out by it. So I keep it for nostalgia. And Pharrell always says, Erick, where's the W-30 beats? Because don't forget, I met Pharrell when I was doing Blackstreet, and Pharrell was with a guy named Mike, his other his singer, and with Chad. But if you go on YouTube, there's 2 songs that I let Pharrell rhyme on that got leaked back then when I was doing Blackstreet, and one of them is called Boot Knuckleization. I know one, and you can hear Pharrell rhyming. So Pharrell was like, yo, I told Teddy, listen, what's up with your boys? Let them rhyme. Teddy wasn't really messing with them like that. Even though they was in the studio, he definitely wasn't letting them rhyme. So that's how, again, the Neptunes even got left from them, because Teddy had them. I let the guy rhyme, but it never happened. It happened for the best, though.
I see.